and welcome to the webisode, Mr. Wilson Teaches, How to Create a Graffiti Alphabet. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do each letter all the way A through Z using the Chrome 5 font, and that's what most of our projects are going to be made out of, which you can see in the other video, which is creating the graffiti tag. So the way this is going to be set up, it's all going to be alphabetical, right, A through Z. This first section will be A through F, so that way if you need to fast forward to find the letter you are looking for, you can go ahead. Most of the letters are going to be starting from the top left, working my way down because I'm right-handed, and I'll try to note where some of the harsher lines are and other areas where they have more of a curve. So we're going to start with the A, so I'm going to start in this top corner. The line comes down. This is that part that's going to be crossing through. I'm going to start to head back, and you're going to finish off your last area. There's an A. The next letter we're going to be doing is a B. I'm going to start at the top, cut through, and a lot of these you can change the thickness that you have on them and do cutbacks like that. That's sort of a style you can add in. Alright, the letter C. Alright, the letter D, just going to have a pretty big curve to it. Alright, uppercase E. So it has a little top to it, or a serif. And last, the F. So there's your A through F, and then we're going to jump right next to the next letters. Alright, the next set of letters we're going with is our G through L. It's going to cut back pretty far in, come up to a harsh angle. We'll bring this around. Next is the H. So the H, I like to add a little extra weight onto the side here. So I start with a curve, which gives it that style. There's that extra weight I was just talking about. Let's make this side a harsh one. And this line will come a little higher, a little bit of a curve to it. That makes it a little more interesting just than your normal block letter H. The I, same thing, I'm going to give it a little bit of a curve. I'm also going to thicken up the bottom more and have that top part curve with it. Okay, for the J. And the K is a little tricky because we've got that overlap. I'm going to start same way I start most of the letters, up in that corner with the harsh edge. Let's have the bottom leg curve a little more. This one, let's have harsh. We'll just kick right up into the other part. Notice these two line up, so that's how you make them match. Let's thicken that up there. So most of this is a nice balance between curve and harsh lines. That's what gives you that style. And sort of same thing with the L. We're going to do a couple harsh lines, a curve, bring it back in. Alright, next set of letters we're going to be doing is M through R. A few of these letters are going to overlap, which makes it a little confusing, but if you follow along line by line, you should be able to get it. So the M, which is a bigger letter, Let's start with your peaks. On this side we're going to curve out a lot. Next so she's going to cut right into the other one. Let this one flare out and come up. The end's going to be pretty similar, except this side is going to be all straight. And we're going to have the mound come across. Just bevel in a little. Notice that lines up with that, and that's where you bring it down. Alright, the O we want more than just a circle, so we're actually going to give it a lot more angle than an O would normally have. We're also going to add a serif on the top too, so it matches the rest of our letters. And then when you overlap these, it's going to look a little more right rather than a backwards D. Same thing with P. We're going to spice it up a little by adding some additions onto the leg. I'm going to start with my normal roundabout. Let that cut into it a little. When this comes out, we're going to add that leg onto it. The Q is basically an O just with the tail. We're going to flip our serif to the other side. So it's going to start there like a capital Q would. Have this come around. Save room for this tail to come through. And then close it off just like we did with the O. And our R is the one that's a little tricky because you've got to add the leg on top of the P. So we're going to start the same way we basically did with P with that mound. This part's going to come out, around, and this part run into it, have it flare out, and same thing, top the R off. Alright, last set of letters we're doing is our S through Z. A few of these are very, very tricky, including the S and Z, to get right, so it might take a couple times. There's a lot of curve to them. So when you start with the S, I start that very first curve you see. So this is the side, and it's going to dig right into the actual letter. And then I'm going to do the next curve. Comes around. This part comes down. That might take a couple tries to get some of those angles, and don't be afraid to erase and sort of make alterations where needed. So you can bring a couple lines in and sort of even it out. The T is pretty simple, so we're going to add a couple different lines to it. We're going to angle these down. This is going to get more weight. Let's angle this up. I'll add a little serif to the top there. The U, also a pretty boring letter, we're going to tilt. So one side we're going to give a harsh edge to. Have it come up. On the other side we're going to leave just a block letter. I want to make sure it doesn't look too much like a J, so keep that curve in there. Alright, the V, same thing. We're going to extend one of the sides. We'll give a harsh edge. This side we'll make more of a block. Bring it back through. The W, very similar to the M, except we're not going to add as much curve to it. So for the W, we're going to keep it blocky to start. Have it come out and cut into it. Same thing, cut in. Give that side a little bit of a curve. So these two should meet in the center. And that's when this second line's going to come through. So we got 1, 2, 3, all of them accounted for. On the X, we're also going to add a couple harsher lines on. So we want it to sort of look like someone took a chiseled marker and went through and slashed across. We'll start with this side. It's going to be my harsher one. So we'll flick around both ways. This side we can add our serif on. This side we'll add in our Y. One side, again, is going to be curved. There's our curve side. We're going to add in our block side. That line to cut through. Let's give that a chisel as well. Make sure all those lines are connecting where they're supposed to be. And that's what gives it the illusion that someone took a marker and was able to do that. And last but not least, our letter Z. And this one we're going to get a little curve to it too. So those are lining up. And that's the end of your alphabet. So best of luck. Go ahead and rewind and keep watching each of those lines that I was creating. Like I said, don't be afraid to make a couple adjustments here and there, add your own style to it, play around with where you're putting those serifs, so the little tails on each thing, and where you're altering the curve. Wonderful thing about graffiti is it's something you make your own, and there's really no set standard for what it should look like. So keep messing around with it, develop your own style, and check out our other video, creating your graffiti tag, and learn how to paint what you just created, your black letters.